So any other thing, the thing that I noticed after printing this a few times is um, the we put the filament spacer, this little guy, a little too small. It was a little too exact. So when I was trying to push the real world filament through it, it was a little too tight. So one thing we can do that I learned is to um, take this filament that we have into edit mode, and then let's see, we may already have. Let's see, let's hide everything except for this. Let's do a loop cut somewhere in here. Let's bring everything back. I just want this filament, and we'll go into edit mode. And I'm looking for that yellow line. There he is. So that line is that loop cut we just made. And now, if we go to the side angle, we want that to be pretty much in the middle of our arrow here, our spinning arrow. So we'll just hit GG and put that right in the center. And then let's just scale it up a little bit. Boom. You can go pretty big. Let's see. So maybe just like out to here. So let's just scale it up just a little bit. Boom, right in there. Just kind of eyeball it. You may have to try that a few times, but we just want the arrow's holes a little bit bigger, and then the spacer can be a little bit bigger. The hole going through our base can be a little bit bigger. But then once it gets down to the bottom here, we want those, the bottom of our base and the top of our base, we want that to be a true, 1.5 millimeter. We can even shrink those a little bit. That way when we stick the filament in there, it's actually going to pinch, and we don't need to have any glue or anything like that. We can just take our edges here and just grab it and go down with it almost all the way to the bottom, maybe like right there, and maybe even scale it in just a little bit, just so it really pinches the filament. So we kind of have like a, it's getting bigger as the middle, and then gets kind of skinnier near the top. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll grab that, go up a little bit as high as we can, and let's scale it in just a little bit. Yeah. And there we go. So now we've got a really cool spinny game here that you can make up or play with your kids or do anything like that. Last thing we're going to do before we start exporting this out for print is I'm just going to make a new thing of text, and I'm just going to put that right here at the bottom. We'll do Shift A, and we'll do text. Once I find it, where is it? Oh, because I'm in edit mode. So tab over, and then we're going to put Shift A, make a new thing of text, and I always just put my website or your brand name. It could be your company name, but I just do my website, which is ptt.live, and then maybe we'll rotate it on the x-axis 180. There we go. So now it'll read from the bottom, and then let's grab on the X, just slide it in there, maybe go to the bottom and just scale that down. Or just kind of, putting your logo or your name. It could be anything you want, really. You don't have to do this, but this is just something I do. I just put my website on each little thing that I do. So we're doing it pretty big because we want it to be pretty easy to print, because it's going to be pretty small. So the bigger the better on this part. And now let's add a modifier. We're going to solidify it, and then just kind of maybe like 5 millimeters, and then we can grab that. And we're just kind of making a stamp, essentially. make a stamp. I want to go to the side, make sure I'm not going too far into, aha, see? So I was going too deep into this, it looks like. Let's see if we missed it. Oh, looks like that is okay because we're not intersecting anything, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to just subtract it from the bottom here. So first select your ptt.live and then select your base and then do Control minus. So the reason it's not working is because I'm silly and this text is actually, you see how it's kind of like got this line here with the 2 dots on the end? It's still an editable thing, you know? So before we can treat this as if it's geometry or if it's actual like a solid mesh, we have to actually turn it into a solid mesh. So to do that, we can hit F3, convert, or you can just right click, you could right click on it and say convert to mesh. And now look, the text is a triangle, and that just means it's a mesh. So we'll call this ptt.live. We can also bring in all these, all these things and bring those into the base. And then for ptt.live, we can click on that, click on our base or our little foundation there and do Control minus, and looky there, we've got ptt.live, or your website or your brand or your YouTube channel or anything like that is kind of pressed into that design there. And then last step, just shift click or just click on that and shift drag it into the base. So now if you grab the base and you move it around, see how everything stays together? That is what you want. So now we've got a really cool design.